Let's up your griddle game. What about some fantastic sweet and salty teriyaki steak bites? Let's go. All right, we have 2 New York strip steaks. We're just going to simply enough season them with salt, put them in the refrigerator for a few hours so they can start dry browning. All right, a few years back, we're working on a teriyaki recipe. We had a native Hawaiian reach out to us with like a family recipe and the history of teriyaki sauce itself. We have his authentic recipe on our website, theflattopking.com. We're going to do all the ingredients, basically cut it in half because the amount of meat that we're using today. Not traditional is pineapple. I'm going to add pineapple because I think most people would probably do that now. I want to caution you, there is a difference between pasteurized pineapple juice and fresh pineapple when marinating. It has an enzyme in it with the fresh pineapple that can really break down your beef, chicken, pork, shrimp, right? And it can happen pretty fast. When you use a can like this, 100% that's been pasteurized, the enzyme is diluted or wiped away or no longer existent, and you get the flavor without worried about basically eating your meat. Now, fresh pineapple can be used as a tenderizer, but I'm telling you, if you haven't done this before, you gotta be very careful. Case in point. We actually made this recipe about 2 weeks ago, and it just did not sit right with us. After editing the video, it was not clear what we have done. So this is me coming to you guys open and honestly. I don't hide behind our mistakes or our failures. I don't feel like it was one of those two. However, I do feel like if we come to you guys with an idea or recipe, it's got to be spot on, and this is one of those things. A viewer reached out to us and said, hey, we absolutely love your garlic steak bites. With the popularity of the Costco flat meat, would you be willing to do a recipe with that? I said, absolutely, I'll try it. I think that's a great idea. Cost effective, and it can feed a lot of people, and it's so flavorful. So I thought, well, instead of doing the exact same recipe, let's change it up a little bit. So we went with the teriyaki pineapple bite style, just to change it up a little bit. What we found was through the marination process and the amount of sugar that was in the recipe, along with putting on the griddle at such a high heat, and the idea that those grains are so severe inside flat meat that once you cut them up in cubes, it kind of starts breaking apart the beef. The beef itself for teriyaki beef on rice was absolutely fantastic, but it's not a true, really good steak bite. So you have to balance the two, and that's how we ended up. So I've reshot the video, I've re-edited the video, and hopefully this, well, I know for a fact already, because this is actually a few days later, has put a better understanding and idea of what we can do with it. All right, so this is what we got. We're gonna add a little pineapple juice, only because we're going to thicken this up and put it on the griddle. We have that type of soy sauce, unbleached sugar. We're gonna add some green onions to it, some ginger, some garlic. So let's make the sauce. 1/4 cup of that pineapple juice. If it's over, it won't matter. That soy sauce. This was the actual recipe that spurred us to try different soy sauces. We have always been the type of people that just buy the traditional Kiekelman. But once you start exploring different soy sauces, it's amazing the depth of flavor they can have. Sugar, and then we got a little quick prep work right here. The whites of 1 green onion. A knob of ginger. As much as you like, I actually like it a lot. So about 1/2 tablespoon to a tablespoon worth, just finely minced. Same thing with 2 cloves of garlic. On the stove it goes, and we're gonna let it simmer. You can bring it up to a boil, but I want this to go as long as possible without really evaporating too much, because I want to basically get as much out of the ginger and the garlic that we can. So on low, your steaks are in there, they're dry browning, you got good, maybe like an hour on extremely low. The reason why we're doing this now is extremely important, because once we sear those steaks on the griddle, you don't have a lot of time, okay? So what you don't want is to cook your steaks on the griddle, let's say medium rare, add this sauce, the sauce heats up, and then all of a sudden steams your meat and then overcooks your meat. So what we learned was, let's have a fantastic crust on the steak. Let's reduce this down, and you won't know the full thickening power of your sauce until it's cool. So we're going to reduce it down, cool it, just turn off the heat, we don't have to refrigerate, nothing like that, and see what kind of consistency we've got, and then we'll use that as a glaze at the very end. All right, about 20 minutes on low. Remember, my low could be completely different than your low. You want some base to it, right? You want to thicken it up a little bit. And taste right now, it should be pungently salty and pungently sweet. The sweetness is going to be definitely dependent on your taste buds. I prefer it not as sweet as it can be. Personal preference. So we back the sugar off a little bit. What you do want is the consistency because, like I said, once it hits that griddle, you don't have much time, and this needs to thicken up in a hurry. And the more it's on the griddle, the more that you have a chance of overcooking your steak bites. About 3 hours in the refrigerator, we're going to just pat these dry because we want a fantastic crust. This is all about the steak. No marinade at all because I want the steak to come through. I want the marinade to be separate. Just for a little garnish, we're going to just basically rough chop some green onions. These are the tops. Traeger's rocking and rolling. I got this side on high, this side on medium, this side on low because we need a fantastic sear. I am only worried about searing the steaks. I got homemade tallow. This is not smoked. Really cranking that temp up on this one. While our steaks are resting, we're gonna add the pineapple to try to get a char on one side. Since these steaks are more on the rare side, probably like a blue rare, then we don't need to let them rest as long. It is important to let them rest, but you don't have to let them rest for 10, 20 minutes, something like that, okay? So here we go, steak bites. So you're just looking for bite-sized pieces. Kind of the idea of like matching the hatch. We preach about it all the time. So you got to make sure the bites will fit in your mouth kind of like one at a time, which means if my wife was doing it.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
See that? That's still pretty, that's like that's rare, but that's what you want. And the reason why we don't marinate it is because the marinade, as high temps we use, would just burn on the griddle. Even if you patted the beef dry, there's a lot of sugars in that marinade. Alrighty, so everything's done. The griddle's already clean. Just a little bit more vegetable for the day. Sesame seeds you could top it with. I'm a huge fan of sriracha. I'll add mine at the end of the video when nobody's watching. The steak definitely holds up a lot better. You gotta be careful how long it's on that griddle. You know it's good if it's good on rice. That's good. It's got more chew to it as well. That's a good bite.
The flat meat is super good though too.
That's a really good bite. I know you like the fat. That Maillard reaction when we seared the beef is so intense, and that's exactly what I was looking for. I did not want, oh my gosh. That's that's the right way to do it. I'm not saying the other way is wrong. Don't marinate your beef. You can, I'm just telling you. You get that fantastic sear. The sugars aren't burning, and then you toss it in the sauce. People would like this. For sure. And the reason why I don't necessarily like it candy sweet, because you get these little nuggets of pineapple, and it offsets everything.
Let me try pineapple.
Give you a vegetable. I mean, look at that crust. Oh yeah.
That's a winner. Winner, winner, steak bite dinner.
Keep the ideas coming. Let the juices flow. You never know what we're going to make. There's a join button down below. It's a membership program. We thank each and every one of you for taking time for doing so. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook. Last but not least, thanks for watching. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Pound the notification, share it with your friends. Peace. I'm going to tell you what.
That's a good.
I'm glad we did it over.
That's a good plate of food.
Look at that right there. That little
I
glaze on
know.
it.
Golly.